Let's welcome our next contributor, Andie Flores, in the question mark.
I'm almost positive that people are greeted in hell by the devil singing, hey, 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 hey. If you can't hear what I'm trying to say, if you can't breathe, we're on the same page. Maybe I'm going deaf, maybe I'm going blind, maybe I'm out of my mind. I mean, there's no more appropriate place than hell itself, and no place else I want to hear it. So play your iPod Touch on full blast, Lucifer, because this song is hot. Okay, now he was close, tried to domesticate ya, but you're an animal, baby, it's in your nature. Just let me liberate ya. I'm trying to explain to my coworker why I don't dance when the song comes on. It's just so fun, she says, whipping her long hair back and forth to the music. She looks at me for words to justify my visible disdain. Ellipses. But I'm not really sure what to tell her. It's practically a rape anthem, I say, hiding my clenched fist under my desk. And I'm sure, coming from me, the Debbie Downer coworker that they joke would donate any pay raises to local artists, this doesn't mean a whole lot. But it should. It's fun, she says, smiling. She keeps dancing. I feel my blood boil, but I shiver like, baby, it's cold outside. At a club near my house in Echo Park, Los Angeles, I'm dancing with friends and a boy comes up to me, puts his hands on my hips, and begins to dance along. Soon his friends surround the apparent spectacle that is a body moving to music. First 2, then 4. They build a wall around the center of the universe we have become. Another group starts dancing nearby. We watch, and the universe shifts. Another boy grips my shoulder tightly with his big hands and tells me to dance. I smile politely and assure him that I'm just watching this time. He leans into my ear and tells me he could pick me up and throw me into the circle if he wanted to, so dance. Period. The way you grab me, must want to get nasty. I'm pushed in the middle to dance, and I'm greeted by another girl who simulates acts with me that draw cheers from the boys. They're smiling. She continues. She touches me. Exclamation point. From inside the circle, I grasp for a friendly arm, pull myself out, and run home. I tell my roommates, 2 boys, exactly what happened. But look at the way you dress, one says. I bet you liked it, says the other. I'm trying to explain to my coworker why I don't dance when the song comes on. As a high school film student, I learned that movies like Manhattan and Annie Hall were fountains of artistic inspiration, great examples of what we could aspire to if we all worked hard enough. Mr. Woody Allen, the patron saint of neurotic storytellers, an untouchable comic god to all of my friends, well, the ones who knew anything about anything anyway. What's your favorite Woody Allen movie? We all asked each other. What's your favorite Woody Allen movie? What's your favorite Woody Allen movie? Last month in an open letter, Woody's adoptive daughter, Dylan Farrow, asked us the same thing. He sexually assaulted me, she says. He talked to me while he did it, whispering that I was a good girl and I'd be a star in his movies. I'm gonna take a good girl. I know you want it. I turn to my filmmaker friends for a mutual understanding that not all artistic men are geniuses, not all geniuses are gods, that our heroes are human, but what I found instead was a refusal to believe that human could mean ugly, arguing an impressive body of artistry against a child who was trying to tell us somebody hurt her. Exclamation point. You don't need no papers. That man is not Jamaica. Trying to explain to my coworker why I don't dance when a song comes on. If you ever forget your pepper spray, your whistle, or your weapon, I have a system for walking at night. If you ever forget anything. It works best in pairs, but it works better in groups. Check over your shoulder, make a fist around your heart, your valuables, if you ever forget that it's dark. Can't let it get past me, you're far from plastic. If you ever forget who you are, exclamation point. I'm trying to explain to my coworker why I don't dance when the song comes on. The year after I was born, Anita Hill testified to Congress that Clarence Thomas, at the time a Supreme Court nominee, sexually harassed her when he was her boss, exclamation point. Some called her a little bit slutty and a little bit nutty as she stood before a panel of 14 white men who made her recite in great detail the truths that won her death threats. A woman scorned, they said, period. And so it became the voice of one woman in the workplace against a man's character, against the idea that a man could and would do such a thing. Who did our policies protect then? Who do our ideas protect now? I'm trying to explain to my coworker why I don't dance when the song comes on. I'm about an inch away from being tall enough to compete on America's Next Top Model. I know this because it used to be an odd dream of mine. I know this because it's a dream of so many girls. I know this because some girls who are lucky enough to pursue it have to sit on couches, waiting for the stark white backdrop of photographer Terry Richardson. And in the bright lights, pose, pretty, flash. Magazines keep employing Terry Richardson. Police keep telling 19-year-old models they have no case because they never said no. Exclamation point. I'm trying to explain to my coworker why I don't dance when the song comes on. I know you want it. I know you want it. The first time I ever got drunk, I climbed into a friend's bed and fell asleep, kissed him once or twice, and went to sleep again. In the morning, my alarm clock had hands that felt me underneath the covers and put their mouth on my still sleeping face. I called one friend to come get me. I called a second who told me he was just playing. I called a third who told me he probably meant nothing bad by it. I stopped calling people after that. Period. I'm trying to explain to my coworker why I don't dance when the song comes on. I'm trying to explain to myself how America was and still is mindlessly swept up by a song whose poetry boasts, I know you want it. I know you want it. I wish one of my high school boyfriends knew that when I asked him to get off of me, I meant it. I wish I didn't hear family members discuss cases of sexual violence against women to the tune of, see what happens when you drink too much? I wish we weren't raising our children to think most people cry wolf or that it was their fault, to think of their exclamations as question marks. I wish no meant no to everyone, and consent was yes, and only yes. Not a smile, a dance, a drink or three, my clothes, because it's nighttime. I wish there was no question of acknowledging this kind of language for what it is. I wish it wasn't normalized every half hour on the radio. I wish the notion that lines of whether or not someone wants it would never be considered blurry. I wish consent wasn't a question mark, period. I wish we would actually listen for once. I'm trying to explain to my coworker why I don't dance when the song comes on.
I think it's time to puncture some of the claims put in the show. That was a great joke, I don't know. First of all, I'm gonna start by talking to Daniel about his text message performance, or his lecture as he calls it. A little text speak 101. It really gave me a good idea of what the degree of communications is all about. So, first you made a joke about a test message. A guy got a text that was a test message. Well, the first text that didn't go through would have been the test message. The text was clearly successful. So not a test message, inaccurate. You talk about here sending MSGs. I hope you're not sending MSGs over the 4G network, because you really should up your intake to 10G, as suggested by the nutritional labels. Let's see, the first text message was sent December 3rd, and it said Merry Christmas. Well, if they sent it December 3rd, and it took 22 days to get there, it kind of sucks. Talk about the do's and don'ts of text messaging. I have a rhetorical question with a question mark for you. What if I'm informing my friends of my restroom activity while driving? Is that a little too much? That's what they call a do don't. So. All right, moving on to Andy. Time to move on here. You say you agreed to inhale with hey, hey, hey. I didn't know Fat Albert went there. Gluttony, I guess. You know. Let's see, you donate pay raises to local artists. Well, they aren't local artists anymore at that point. They are employed. Check that one off the list. All right. People have a refusal to believe Woody Allen could be ugly. Have they even seen the guy? And you talk about raising children to think of their exclamations as question marks, and I could see that as a potentially huge problem. There's a lot of ambiguity that could happen, and now I'm trying to imagine what some of our famous historical figures would have been like if they ended their exclamations in question marks. So I have, for your educational purposes only, I have compiled a list of historical quotes that should end in question marks. Give me liberty or give me death. Ask not what you can do for your country, what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Okay. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Or probably, in advertising might be a little different. Just do it. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Beef is what's for dinner? Now that you guys are rolling in laughter, it's time to answer some of the questions, and I'll split them up into my next fact check, but let's just start from the beginning here. First question, how do you write a first draft without run-on sentences? You put a leash on. Next, what punctuation mark goes after a question? Looks like there's a comedian out there. Very funny. Very good question. What is the best punctuation to use after the word F-U-C-K? Probably like exclam one, exclam at, and then like a number sign, I would imagine. Why does the word opossum start with an O? I know it's spelling, not punctuation, but it still bothers me. That's because you're mispronouncing opossum. It's possum. It's still the same thing, just you're more excited about it. In which font does an ampersand look fattest? Comic Sans Yoga Pants.